Hey everyone, welcome back to your week ahead astrology breakdown. I'm Matthew Oliver with Stillwater Alchemy, and we have a lot of transits to dive into this week. So let's just get started, shall we? So we start off the week on Monday, March 6th, and we're starting at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So one thing I want to address is this Mars in Gemini square Neptune is going to be activated now for the next week, week and a half until it goes exact. What this means is that in terms of Mars representing action, drive, determination, motivation, passion, and then Neptune can be beautiful inspiration, creativity, imagination, spirituality, overall energy. But this can kind of be for me, like if your mind isn't focused, if you're not pronounced of what you want, if you're not getting grounded, it'll be very, very, very easy for you to get distracted or swayed off course. So if you feel like you're lacking energy, if you're lacking motivation, if you're lacking purpose, this is just going to be a time where this is really going to be highlighted and see where you need to add either extra support, care, nurturing, balance, whatever that is, because that isn't just something that's going to go away very quickly. And that's going to be highlighted with this Virgo full moon that we have on Tuesday, March 7th. So this is just a heads up. It doesn't need to be a bad thing. This can also be where you're fighting very pronouncedly for your dreams, or that even if everyone around you is having one mindset or one way of thinking, you know what's true for you, and you're not going to get swayed by projections. You're not going to be distracted by things that are happening that have no concern to your wants, needs, and desires. So just be very careful. I mean, this can be a transit that gets easily activated by scrolling on social media. And even if you are just bored, like as you can see, I am wearing an eye patch. If you want to know more about that, I talk about it in the Virgo full moon workshop. But with regards to me observing humans these past few days as I've been wearing this eye patch, everyone's on their phones. Like I just, like if I'm waiting for an Uber, if I'm in an appointment or just in my lobby, like everyone is on their phones. Everyone's like walking on the sidewalk on their phone. They're in the elevators on their phone. Like it's actually kind of wild. And maybe I'm just noticing this more because I'm not on my phone, because I'm trying to take care of my one eye that is working. But we get so distracted. Like humans always give their attention and focus to something else, and it's different maybe if you're looking at an email or a text. But even for me, I try and answer my emails once in the morning, once at night, or if I'm working on a project and emails come up, then I answer, because it's usually my clients. But I want you to take stock, and that's even something I put in the Virgo full moon workshop, is like, for those that are feeling like there's many energy drains or leaks in their productivity, how often throughout the day do you look at your phone? And is that actually prudent to your productivity? So this is just something I want to bring up at the start of the week. And then we also have on Monday, the moon opposing Mercury. So this can be, again, a challenging transit, even just reminding ourselves that on Sunday, the moon was opposing Saturn. Now the moon is opposing Mercury. So there might just be a lot going on. You might feel like there's a lot of things on the docket or a lot of things you have to get done, especially with the full moon coming on Tuesday. So that's what I'm saying, that getting a little bit extra grounding, rest, and where you need extra support, care, where do you need to be heard? How can others hold space for you? I think this is a beautiful transit that if you need help asking for it is really going to be in your best interest. Okay. Now, Tuesday, we have the Virgo full moon and Saturn ingressing into Pisces. So there's a couple things here to discuss. One, we now see there are 4 planets in the sign of Pisces: Saturn, Mercury, the Sun, and Neptune, which means that that part of your chart is going to be very much strongly activated. Some of you might have already been feeling the effects of Saturn moving into Pisces, or what that means for you specifically. But especially with this full moon happening on the exact same day as Saturn in Pisces, you may just find yourself, and what I think too, wanting to invest into either a coach, a mentor, a course, a new habit or system, like a workout routine that's going to help you feel more alive, more energetic, more inspired. And that this also goes hand in hand, because we can see the moon will be making that applied opposition to Neptune, be making that applied square to Mars. It will just be very obvious with the moon representing the body. And Virgo even rules the intestines, right? So you can take stock too of how you're feeling health-wise to see what needs to change, or what story, given that Neptune can represent illusion, fantasy, what stories are you currently investing into? What narratives, what mindsets and beliefs? And are these actually conducive? Are these things that make you happy? Is this a life that you enjoy? And if not, what is holding you back? And again, there could be the fear or something coming through that's not allowing you to have the life, the dream, the mindset that you know is fully going to benefit you. And I'm happy about this too, because Tuesday leading into Wednesday, we have the moon making that trine to Pluto. And then also on the full moon, we have the moon making a trine to Uranus. So I do think that there will be a shift or a click. This could be one of those situations where you're going to be feeling a lot of emotions, or maybe there's going to be a lot of pain or struggle or something that you're moving through. But at the end, there's going to be a resolution. There's going to be something that you know you need to do. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be painful and tough for everyone, but this full moon with both Neptune and the moon and the sun making a square to Mars, there's likely to be something that will make you a little bit uncomfortable, or something with regards to mindset or your mental health, or maybe even your spiritual being, or let's be honest, our physical health, something that is going to push you in a direction to help you get clarity or resolve. And like I was saying earlier, that might just be simply asking for help. That could be wanting to invest into something that's going to benefit you long term. Now with Saturn in the sign of Pisces, and especially with Mercury still here for the next week and a half, it would be interesting to see what comes up during this full moon and where you're wanting support, whether it's with your emotions, your well-being, your creativity, a new talent. Really sit with that and see, am I fully happy? And what could I invest into that'll make me even more happier? And this doesn't need to be investment of money necessarily, but there will probably be an investment of time, energy, or money that will allow you to do something to be more productive, more inspired, or just healthier overall. Okay. Now, like we were saying with Wednesday, the moon will start off in Virgo because we're at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time here. That's going to move into Libra, but just this is extending on the themes of what we just experienced before in terms of taking care of yourself, where you need to feel more structured, balanced, inspired, and healthy. The good news is here, of course, is that when the moon reaches her full moon phase, there is this energy of something coming to culmination, or this spotlight energy, or something happening that's really going to put you in a sense of, okay, now I know this is the next step. If we talk about the sun illuminating during the daytime, when we have a full moon at night, things become more clear. And so maybe if things were hazy or you didn't know what was going on, this can be where things are finally clear. You know what to do. You know what people's true intentions are, so you can move forward, right? Like this moon trine Pluto. Pluto for me is one of the greatest planets that really just speaks of truth and power. So once we know the truth, it's our decision whether or not we want to move forward with that truth or stay stuck in an illusion or fantasy that isn't real. Now, if the life that you're living is amazing and beautiful and it is like a dream come true, keep living that dream and just be cautious or cognizant of what would pull you out of that, of what mindset or what fear also being a very Plutonian energy, that would hold you back from consistently living that. Like a lot of times when I talk to clients, they're like, this just seems too easy. Or like, that's all I have to do to get what I want. And that thinking of it seems too easy, too good to be true, can often be a form of self-sabotage, or again, our upbringing being one of, you have to work extremely hard, there has to be sacrifice, there has to be blank in order for it to be easier for you to win, whatever the story is, right? So the notion of stories, illusion, fantasy, our mindset, these are going to be big things that I want you to pay attention to, especially at the start of the week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and as we're working with this full moon energy. All right. Thursday, we have the moon in Libra opposing Jupiter, and then she's also making that applied trine to Mars. So I think contingent that you did a little bit of grounding, soul searching, tapping into your emotions at the start of the week, there's likely to be action or opportunity or something that's going to come through that'll make things easier, or that you're going to want to pursue, want to connect with. This can be really steamy, of course, with the moon making a trine to Mars in terms of romance, connection, even just collaboration. Like let's say you're wanting to connect to someone or apply for something or be seen. This could be a really good opportunity to do that as well, because the moon is still in her full moon phase. Of course, putting out content, promoting, marketing, sending out an email newsletter, these would all be great things to do on Thursday, because of course with Libra, that is the scales. If we're thinking about scales back in the day, markets, commerce, what is fair. So anything to do with business is likely to be amplified on this day. And is there anything else I want to discuss for this? No, this just seems like a good relief of things now smoothing out. So that's nice to know in the back of our minds that at the start of the week, things might be a little bit or a lot of energy, a lot of shifts, a lot of things coming to the surface. And then on Thursday, things start to balance out again for us. Now, when we move on to Friday, we have the moon opposing Venus. So this can go a couple different ways, of course. So one good thing is there's a little bit of mutual reception because Venus rules over Libra, right? So this kind of just seems like an energy of you catch more bees with honey than vinegar. There's a way for you to get what you want with that Venus in Aries while still ensuring that everyone wins. So if you're feeling like there's something that you really want, but you can't have it, is there a way to shift it on Friday, with Friday being ruled by Venus, that you can have it and so can everyone? Is there a belief that says you can do this and this? But I don't want you to compromise what makes you happy, because with the moon in Libra, especially, there might be this energy of, well, no, we need to compromise. We need to do this. We need to make sure everyone's happy. I think there's a way that everyone can be happy, but you still get what you want. So I want you to think about that and see where that's coming through. And we even see here too that Venus is pretty much in that exact sextile to Mars. So using your words, using your mind, this could be a really great day for manifestation as well. This could also be if there is contentious energy with a feminine being or the feminine part of yourself, of where do I need to slow down? Where can I receive more pleasure, more love in my life? What do I need to do to get myself there? And we're seeing this be a constant theme this week of, we need to take responsibility for our actions, for our thoughts, for our lives, to receive more clarity or opportunity or passion moving forward. All right. And also too, throughout the end of the week, we now have Mercury in a very close sextile range to Uranus. I'm pretty sure that goes direct. Exactly. This goes direct tomorrow. So Mercury sextiling Uranus, and then the moon making a conjunction to the south node. This energy too, I think, can be one of either clarity, a shift, something happening that gets more easy, or something that you just have to let go. This could also, depending on how Friday manifests for you, this may be letting go of a relationship, a mindset, a belief, something that just doesn't serve you. And by letting go of that energy, there's a shift in how you think or a shift in how you feel. So just be aware of that. It doesn't have to be big and huge, something that needs to be let go of, but it's been a pretty constant theme whenever the moon is in Scorpio, with that conjunction to the south node, that something has to be let go. And the one good thing is here is now that with all this beautiful Pisces energy, the moon is getting to connect with all this. So there's likely to be a smoother way to express yourself, or if you're needing to have that heart-to-heart or an emotional conversation, either with yourself or with others, that it's going to be more receptive. So you can even take that, given as well that the moon is opposing Uranus on Saturday, that if you're wanting or needing some kind of emotional support or clarity or resolve with someone in your life, this could be a beautiful day to do that, especially if it's been on your mind since Friday with the moon and Venus. That can sometimes also represent, especially with Venus and Aries making an opposition to the moon in Libra, insecurity about our worth, beauty, talents, whatever that may be. So if you need to have a conversation, I mean, it might even be with your mother, given that the moon is here, of something that you have felt that you have endured or that you have trauma around. This can also just manifest in you journaling about this, you speaking out loud, but there will be this kind of emotional cathartic energy on Saturday by you spending a bit more time with your emotional self, with that inner child, whatever that is, to move through something more intensely. And we're kind of just seeing this be a constant theme this week, but it's just the way the cosmos are. It's like we're ending off this energetic year with Pisces season, of course, for those that adhere to that, with Pisces representing or being close to the 12th house. Like, we are closing out a lot of cycles. We have to do this emotional, spiritual work so that when we get to Aries season, which is on March 20th, that it feels like we are starting a new chapter. So don't shy away from this work. If you need extra rest, this would also be a great time to do that as well. Like self-care, taking it easy. These are all things you can do on Saturday as well. And Sunday, also a beautiful day for manifestation, because now the moon is leaving that opposition to Uranus and it's making trines to Mercury, the sun, and Neptune. So Saturday, Sunday, I'm sure your dreams will be very intense, whether it's your physical dreams or in the metaphysical realm as you sleep. So just be aware of that. And we also see this exact sextile between Venus and Mars. I mean, that's pretty much going on all weekend. So there can be really something fun, spicy, pleasurable in your life. So don't miss out on these transits too. It doesn't have to be all heaviness and letting go. It can just be something where it's like, oh, this mindset doesn't serve me. I'm going to let that go. And now I'm going to enjoy this instead, especially with Venus and Aries. Like, it can sometimes feel like instant gratification or just going after what you want. And this can also really translate into inspired action. You have the thought, I really want to do this. And then you're like, oh yeah. And this could just be, I really want to go out for tacos, or I want to go get some fresh fruit. And then you go do it, and then you're happier. And then you're in this frequency of, oh, everything just gets to be easy. I'm happy. And then that moon, trine sun, and Neptune can just be like, oh, why don't I always do this? Why don't I always just allow myself to be happy? And then you might be able to reevaluate other parts of your life where maybe you're not as happy, to shift and prioritize different things, to just stay in that state of flow, right? The vibe, as we like to associate with Pisces for sure. So the astrology question of the week. I get this question in different forms, and I got it a few weeks ago, but people often ask, if I have this planet in my first house, what does that mean? So let's say you are a Virgo rising and also have the moon in Virgo. And of course, with us having the full moon in Virgo, that'd be very activating. But with any chart, but if we're using whole sign houses in this example, any planet that you'd have in the first house in the same sign as your ascendant or rising sign, you would just evoke the energy of that planet so much more clearly. So it would definitely be worth researching and taking extra time to learn more about that planet if you have any additional planets in the first house. So for example, if you have the sun in your first house, that solar energy is going to be more prominent. It's likely that you are going to be seen or be a leader or be someone that people look up to. You might be very positive, very happy, or just be very successful and famous in the field that you choose to be in. And that might not manifest right away. That may manifest later on in your life, depending on what other transits are going on. Same thing, like let's go to the moon. The moon can be very a nurturing, compassionate individual. Of course, there may be a lot of emotions that are going on. And the one thing to also follow up with this is that we would look to the planet, but of course, we'd also look to the sign that is ruling the first house. So if we're talking about the moon, say if you are a Scorpio or Capricorn rising, with your moon also either in Scorpio or Capricorn, you might find it more difficult to express your emotions because the moon is in a weakened essential dignity in Scorpio and Capricorn. So that's also something to evaluate here too, is I've seen sometimes in client charts where they have a planet in the first house, but it's in weakened dignity. And then that can manifest in an interesting way where they evoke the properties of that planet, but through the lens of the zodiac sign. So this can be where it's a bit more intermediate with your astrology knowledge. However, just knowing the basic principles of that planet is going to be very good. And then if we add on the sign with the planet, it gets even more and more clear. So if we go to Mercury, of course, a mercurial energy, communication, thoughts, could be a great orator, or just in general likes to have great jovial conversations or wants to be very social. Venus, naturally, there could be that beauty, that grace, wanting to connect. Also really probably good at diplomacy, wanting to organize different events, could be regarding beauty or artistic pursuits. Mars would have that strong fervor in terms of either military, business, masculine energy, drive, passion, or they could just be really in touch with that masculine energy to do or to create or to build something in their life. And that could be building a family, building a business, just building physical energy, whatever that could manifest as. Jupiter could be an energy of great luck. I feel like a lot of celebrity charts that I look at often have Jupiter in the first. So there doesn't always manifest like that, of course, but there's this jovial energy, a positive energy, one that's expansive. It could just be general luck that that person was born into a great family or a wealthy family or a well-to-do family. And of course, it could be linked to religion or academia with having Jupiter in the first. With Saturn in the first, there could be this energy of always feeling like they're always working or building, or there can sometimes be like a late bloomer where they don't go through puberty a bit later, but then it can be a case of that Benjamin Button where they do a lot of work in that first 30, 32 years of their life, and then things get significantly easier. I do often find too with Saturn in the first that it can feel like this pressure of not doing enough, like they should always be working or always be performing. So that can be something as well that knowing Saturn, you can draw on this energy of allowing yourself some ease and not always having to create or do or build. And then Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto still have a very similar energy as well. With Uranus, there could be this off the beaten path type energy, a very unique individual that has to do things their own way, often a very revolutionary type energy, one that does not want to follow the rules or just do what everyone else is doing. They want to have or be in a position where they have complete freedom. Now, Neptune can be a very spiritual or very creative individual. They could be someone that seems otherworldly. Oftentimes, spirituality or artistic talents are very prevalent. If you have Neptune in the first, that could also be cautious of the energy that you surround yourself with, because you'll be very sensitive to the energy around you and the energy that you put into your body, including substances and everything else that could go in one's body. And then lastly, Pluto is very intense when it's in the first, but in a good way. It just represents power, that always wanting to grow and evolve. With Pluto, I see this every single time in a client's chart. If you have Pluto in the first, there's this energy of people loving you or kind of like being borderline obsessed with you, or not so much. They might be intimidated or they just don't like you. And so it can kind of go 50-50. And of course, those are all the examples I've seen in consults. If you have Pluto in the first, I don't want you to get freaked out about that, but often represents power and the want and desire to always grow and evolve and to change. And the closer these planets are in degree to your ascendant will naturally amplify the energy of those planets. All right. I know that was a very brief Cliff Notes version. I was only going to do the sun and the moon, and then I'm like, all right, let's just do all the planets. So if there's any other clarity that you want with planets in the first, or just in general with that question, let me know. I can do a part 2 next week if there's enough interest. Otherwise, my full moon workshop is going to be up shortly. I'll post that on my website. I'll also send an email newsletter when it's available, so everyone has the opportunity to invest if they so choose. Have a beautiful week ahead. Enjoy all these transits. Make sure that you get some extra grounding and avoiding distractions for the next week, week and a half as we deal with that Mars square Neptune is going to be extremely advantageous. And then just know what you're fighting for, what your dreams are, what kind of life you want to live, feel, experience. And that's going to really help you understand where you need that extra support, nurturing, or guidance to help make these next few weeks even easier or more clear for yourself. All right. Have a beautiful week ahead. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.